Blood Angels time. I'm freaking excited to talk about these guys. So one of the things that's been happening in the meta right now is Blood Angels have been really, really good. But there's been a trick. They suck into Satan. And they've also had some problems where they've experienced previously in the meta where they tend to struggle into really like high toughness targets. So we're talking like big knights and things. Because Blood Angels just struggle to bring these things down. We hit really, really hard into your normal elite troops. We hit really, really hard into light tanks, light vehicles. We hit crazy hard into chaff. We do struggle with the super high toughness. We're talking like, Rogodoran style thing or a big knight style thing. And this has had people kind of struggle with Blood Angels in the current meta. So I've put my thinking cap on and I've decided to fix it. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how I fixed it. I'm going to show you an idea of list construction that's going to get to you, and I'm going to reveal to you the unique unit that is amazing in Blood Angels, but pretty much sucks everywhere else. So stick with it, and we're going to learn how are we going to build out our Blood Angels to really be countering the current Satan meta threat and other really big nasties, which Blood Angels have historically struggled with. So I'm just going to jump right into it. What is the unit? Okay, this unit, you're going to think I'm crazy. But then we're going to kind of run through the math of it, and I'm going to really show you why it really works. And it only works in 2 of our detachments. So those 2 detachments are going to be Liberator Assault Group and Rage Curse Onslaught. Now, if you don't want to be playing one of those detachments, if you're an Angelic Inheritors kind of fella or a girl, sorry, this strategy won't work for you. No big deal. Angelic Inheritors is still great. You'll just have to use a different strategy to get through those big toughness, big nasty monsters, which are currently plaguing the meta. So this style build does require you to play it a specifically way, and we're going to go through all the details with it. And yes, there's counterplay to it, but just it's Warhammer 40,000, so everything has counterplay to it. So what is the unit? The unit is the humble Assault Centurion. The Assault Centurion is not a good unit. It only moves 4, but it has a very, very specific ability on it. And that specific ability is when they are targeting a unit in melee, they get, or a monster or vehicle unit in melee, they get sustained hits 2. This is a very big deal that you have to understand. Now, when we are playing Liberated Assault Group or Rage Curse Onslaught, what happens is we get bonus attacks and strength. Now, this is absolutely everything. The strategy won't really work in other detachments, but it will work here because we get bonus attacks. If you look at their melee profile, they only have 3 attacks. They have a strength 10, an AP 2, and a damage of 3. Now, these attacks are twin linked. It actually does hit quite hard into a lot of things. So, if we are playing our Rage Curse Onslaught, we can get these guys up to a grand total of 5 attacks each, which means this 150-point unit will get 15 attacks at strength 10, AP 2, damage 3. But since it's Rage Curse Onslaught, we're going to spend our 1 CP on our big strat to give us +1 AP and +1 strength. And then we're going to Battle Shock ourselves so we get our +2 attacks, right? So that would go to strength 11, AP 3, damage 3. And in Liberated Assault Group, we're not going to Battle Shock ourselves, but what we can do is we can give ourselves Lance, and we'll natively get +2 strength. So we'll go to strength 12, and we can give ourselves Lance. This is a very, very big deal. When we mathematically approach this, if I am going into a big knight, let's say I don't know, Imperial or whatever. Let's just say a Crusader. If you hit a Crusader with this blob in melee is going to deal 28 damage. And then if I give him Lance, I'm going to be dealing 32 damage. 32 damage with this unit in Liberated Assault Group. If I do it in Rage Curse Onslaught and I give myself the bonus AP, it's going to be closer to 36 damage. This is a 150-point unit, and it's going to be tearing down almost 400-point units quite easily. Now, when we get into a Satan, here's the math on it. It does not clear the Satan in one shot. But what it does is this 150-point unit will deal 10 to 12 damage into a Satan in melee alone. Melee alone, people. Liberated Assault Group, 3 attacks each. That goes up to 4 attacks when you charge. So that's going to be 12 attacks each. You have 12 attacks. Out of this, you're going to miss 4 of them. These are going to be 1s and 2s. And 2 of them are going to become 6s. All right. And then the other 6 will just be 5 through 3. That's how it's going to work, because you're going to roll these as 1s and 2s. But it's going to be our Oath of Moment target. So what we're going to do is we're going to re-roll these ones that failed. Okay, I got 2 more misses, and I got 1 more sustain, so that's going to put these 2 back in. And then I'm going to put these back in as well. So if I have 12 attacks, I'm going to get roughly 16 hits with an Oath of Moment. I go strength 12 because I charged, so it's not strength 10, it's strength 12. I will then be +1 to wound because I'm going to use my stratagem for Lance, so I'm wounding the Satan on 2s. They have twin linked, which means they reroll these ones. So on a bad roll, I got 2 that failed. That's 7 that go through. So 14 wounds. 7 that go through. That means they're going to pass 7 of their saves. And that's going to be 14 damage that they're going to suffer. Now, they do have a 5 Fiona Pain. So they're going to shrug a third of these. When you shrug a third of those, it's going to be approximately 4 to 5 damage. So you're going to get 9 to 10 damage. Oh, yeah, we'll say they shrug 5 damage. Say that's 9. You're going to average 10, so you're going to hit anywhere between 8 on a bad spike to 14 on a good spike. This is a 150-point unit. But all this damage is after something else that's really important. These guys have the grenades keyword. That means they're going to roll their 6 dice. That means 3 wounds go through. Your Satan is going to shrug 1 of them mathematically, so they're going to take 2. So now we've dealt 2 damage on the grenade. We've dealt 9. We're going to stick with the 10 for the average. So we've dealt 12 damage from this unit onto a Satan in melee when you combine the grenade to the melee. But then we also have 3 melted gun shots. All melted gun shots, you're basically going to hit with all of them because you got 3 of them with rerolls. You're wounding on 5s, twin links. You're going to wound with 2 of them. He saves 1 of them. It's D6. Call it a 3 because I want to go with mathematical averages here. -1, so it only deals 2 damage, but it's Melta, so you get +2 damage. So you dealt 4 more. They're going to save 1 of them. Maybe 2 of them. Screw it. Let's say they roll well. Now we've dealt 14 damage, and then we still have the bolters to go through, and we still have the delivery system. So on average, guys, when I even gave like the benefit of the doubt to the Satan on rolling a slightly over average on their saves, rolling slightly average on their Fiona Pains, we're getting 14 damage out of just this 150-point unit. Now, granted, there is a CP expenditure involved in that, right? Because I had to spend CP for the grenade. I had to spend CP for the lance. Now, the reality is you don't actually have to spend CP for the lance because you're still wounding them on 3s with twin linked, so you're going to drop 2 damage. It just depends on how much you're able to bias the math with other things. So you're going to have to shoot it with one other thing. You got to deal 2 to 4 damage to make yourself feel comfortable besides just this 150-point squad. That means that this 150-point squad is probably the most efficient thing in the entire game to a Satan. If it's a 6-man, they'll absolutely one-tap the Satan. But honestly, you're never going to be able to deliver a 6-man. This thing is the most darn efficient unit in the entire freaking game when it comes to Satan. 150-point units, you're going to be getting about 14 damage out of it in Liberated Assault Group. If you're doing it in Rage Cursed Onslaught, you're going to be doing approximately the same. You just have a higher probability of spiking high simply due to the fact that you're getting more attacks to get the sustained hits too. But then you're wounding on 4s with twin linked as opposed to 2s with twin linked. So the math is going to end up roughly the same. I think it maybe be like slightly worse in Rage Curse Onslaught, but it's going to be effectively the same thing. That's amazing, and that profile is really, really powerful for dealing with your Satan threats. Now, how do we get those last 2 to 4 wounds off the Satan to make ourselves feel comfortable? Well, you have to deliver them because they only move 4, which means you need a Land Raider. So this is actually going to be reliant on the fact that you're running terrain that is conducive to a Land Raider, which means this is going to be very good on UKTC, and it's going to be quite decent on most GW maps, but occasionally it can be tricky on GW. One of the very cool things about the current meta we are playing in is it is teched for killing Satan, which means they want lots of high volume, low AP, damage 1 stuff just to try to push through the Satan. Just put dice rolls on them. Land Raiders happen to love high volume, low AP, damage 1 stuff because it doesn't do too much for Land Raider. So Land Raider is a little bit counter meta right now. So what you're looking for is you're looking to see in your tournament pack, can you move the Land Raider around? If you can, the Assault Centurions strategy becomes immediately available to you. But don't worry, this isn't just for Satan. This is also for big knights. The exact same thing that we're doing to the big knights. Let's say we've got our 12 attacks. We miss with 4 We miss with 4 of them. Let me just kind of clear these dice away for you. So we're going to take 4 dices for a miss when we roll our attacks. 2 of them are going to be 6s. Then we have these. Then we Oath of Moment, so we're re-rolling the hit rolls. Cool. We dropped 1. These are going to be sustained hits too. And then we are going to be rolling to wound on 2s again. Boom, boom, boom. Our big knight is saving on 5s. Boom, boom, boom. That big knight just took 3 damage each. So 33 damage. So you obliterate big knights. You obliterate Satan. Even though, yes, you need to shoot 1 extra thing into the Satan to kill it. And we're talking about averages here. We're not even talking about what happens if you get a lucky las cannon off. Like, this is kind of amazing how good they are into the current meta threats. The caveats are they suck at delivery and they die easy. They're only 4 wounds each. They are T7, but they're only a 2-up armor save. And there's no invulnerable save on them. So they really are very challenging to deliver because they only move 4 inches. So if we have them stacked in here and we want to go full swing on them, well, that's as far as they're going. It really does suck. So you have to have a method to deliver them with. As far as I can tell, the only really good option is going to be the Land Raider. Because the Land Raider, God bless it, lets you charge when you get out after it moves. So this bad boy, he's going to go his full 12 inches. Then you disembark 3 inches. And then you get to charge with him. This makes the Land Raider amazing. Now, the Land Raider is very deliverable on a variety of maps. GW3, it loves. GW2, it loves. GW1, it's okay on. GW8, it absolutely loves. GW7, it's a big fan of. So there are a lot of maps where you can easily move a Land Raider on. There are some maps that makes it harder. So if you're running your GW6, your GW4, or even GW5, these maps can be harder to run the Land Raider on. So this build is going to be map intensive based off of what your tournament pack is. So you need to read your tournament pack, but if your tournament pack is Land Raider friendly, this Assault Centurion is a great, incredible, unbelievable unit for delivering to deal with your pesky Satan and big monster, big vehicle, big knight problems. Beyond that, you're still freaking Blood Angels, so you're running a host of things. So this is not like 100%. This is not the army that I think everyone should run. This is a video where I'm teaching you how these Assault Centurions actually work, and I'm just going to give you a army that you can utilize off of, that you can base a build off for yourself. So if I was running this in Liberator Assault Group, I'd be running 3 Assault Centurions inside a Land Raider Crusader. I know Crusader sounds crazy. The reason why it's a Crusader, and you don't have to do this, I'm not telling you run this list, I'm telling you to consider the Assault Centurions so that you can fix one of the big problems that you as a Blood Angel player is currently having. So, the reason why I'm running a Land Raider Crusader is that I still get that critical 12-inch move. That is everything. That is such a big deal. That 12-inch move matters more than I can say. The normal Land Raider, which would be my choice because I would want the las cannons instead of the Hurricane Bolters, is only move 10. That's why I'm going with the Land Raider Crusader. A Land Raider Redeemer is the best, but it only works if you have the points for the Land Raider Redeemer. And a lot of times you're not going to have points for the Land Raider Redeemer because it's pretty pricey. Although, if you want to run the Land Raider Redeemer, you would be better off with the Land Raider Redeemer. Okay, so the way that this list currently is built, it's Liberator Assault Group. I've got a Land Raider Crusader here. I've got 3 Assault Centurions in it. I've got 2 squads of JPI. I've got 1 squad of Fight First Blade Guard veterans, because they are going to be led by a chaplain with the Speed of the Primarch, or the Fights First enhancement. I've got Dante. He's going to be normally with 6 Sanguinary Guard, occasionally solo. I've got a normal captain who's leading 3 Sanguinary Guard. I've got a Mephiston, a Sanguinor, a Ball Predator, double Scouts, and the Calidus. This list is very powerful. It has the ability to move up and dominate board position on a variety of maps. It does not necessarily enjoy GW4 and a lot of GW6. So if your tournament pack that you're playing is going to be really, really heavy on the GW4 and really heavy on GW6, 6 is better than 4. Then I would say maybe think about a different build. But if you're not going super heavy on the GW4s, then this build is actually a gem, and I highly recommend you give it a try. These Assault Centurions are a huge deal, and they are smashing units. Remember what they just did to a big knight? They just did 3 damage into it with a average roll. into a Satan, they're going to be, on average, getting you, I think it's like 10.55 is the math. So you're going to be expecting anywhere between 8 and 12-ish melee damage. But then you have the melta guns that are going through. You've got all the chest nipple guns, the grenades, and literally the rest of the firepower from the rest of your army that you're going to go into Satan. Because remember, when you're trying to kill Satan, you're trying to kill that Satan. You're not splitting your fire. You're only trying to kill that Satan. If you split your fire, you're kind of a psychopath. I don't recommend it. I think if your goal is to kill a Satan, kill the Satan, and then move on. One of the other cool things about Blood Angels when it does come to Satan is that Sanguinary Guard are actually really, really crappy at killing Satan, but they're great at tying Satan up. Like, for example, if the Nightbringer was to attack a unit of Sanguinary Guard, he's going to have 6 attacks. Sanguinary Guard are -1 to be hit, which means he's going to hit you only 4 times. He's not going to be hitting you 5 times. I mean, of course, mathematics can swing up or down. I'm just talking about averages here. Then when he wounds you, he's not wounding you on 2s. He's wounding you on 3s, which means he won't wound 4 times. He's going to wound 3 times. And then you have a 4-pin vulnerable save, which means you save one of them. Let's say 2 go through. Okay, great. You out-OC him because you have a banner inside your unit. So if it's into a 3-man, you might spend a CP or perhaps your free CP to reroll one of these to save it. And then you only lose 1, which means now you have more OC than the Satan. Because with the banner, you're +1 OC, so your captain and your 2 Sanguinary Guard would go to OC6, out-OCing the Satan that charged you. So even though you're actually not good at killing them with Sanguinary Guard, you tend to be very good at tying them up with Sanguinary Guard. Let these guys do the punch. Finish them up with a multi-melta or whatever. Soften them up with your multi-melta, with all your Hurricane Vultures, with their Twin Link, with whatever. Soften them up with whatever you need to do. Charge in, murder with a Satan. You can tie other Satan up if you need to. Or you could just force your opponent to then go kill your Assault Centurions. And by that point, you've probably denied them and done all the stuff that you need to do to beat the Satan. Assault Centurions typically are not a good unit, guys. But in this context, man, they kind of rock. And I have been having a blast using them. I hope to actually be taking them to a GT pretty soon. I'm not guaranteed that I'm going to do it, but I am strongly considering bringing them up to a GT here in a few weeks. And if I do, I'm going to let you guys know about it. Unfortunately, the map pack just doesn't quite say that I should bring them. But we'll see how it goes. Guys, try the Assault Centurions out. Let me know how you think about them. They are absolutely solving the biggest meta problem that we're facing. There are drawbacks to running the Assault Centurions. Those drawbacks would be the fact that you need a delivery system for them, which means you need a Land Raider, which makes you very map sensitive. In addition to that, you're not going to be able to fit quite as much stuff as you would like to do because you're bringing the Land Raider, because they can be quite expensive. So you're going to have to be able to make those trade-offs. Do you want to be better into what is the meta threat? Do you want to be better into the things that are trying to upset the meta? This is up to you, but if you're really struggling with your Satan and your big knights and your big monsters like that, Assault Centurions are amazing point-and-click solutions in Blood Angels, specifically for Liberated Assault Group and Rage of Curse Onslaught. Twofold, for 2 reasons. The main reason being the extra attacks, but the second reason being access to Advance of Charge does help them get up the board faster. But the reality is, since we have the Land Raider, we're not relying on our Advance of Charge on these guys. We're just going to be using our Assault Ramp to get them into combat, which is also why I don't like putting them in the Repulsor. I like putting them in the Land Raider. So guys, this is my video on how to handle the freaking Star God menace that is the stupid Satan. If you like this, smash, share it with friends. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. And until next time, crump on. Bye-bye.